Cheers to the successful opening of the new branch of the Simmons, announced Anne, raising her wine glass filled with red wine. Her husband, Peter, and their two daughters, Alyssa, the youngest, and Zoe, the eldest, followed suit. The clinking of glasses echoed in the elegant dining area of their family mansion before everyone took a sip from their respective glasses. "This wouldn't have been possible without our brilliant daughter," Anne added proudly. "Let's not forget, this is also a celebration of Alyssa, the CEO of the Simmons, one of the best Korean BBQ chains in the state." Peter raised his glass toward his younger daughter. "To Alyssa." "Oh, Dad, that's nothing," Alyssa replied, bashfully smiling. "I just did my best for the good of our family business. I couldn't have done it without all your support and especially my amazing big sister." She leaned her head on Zoe's shoulder as they sat side by side. "Oh, don't drag me into this," Zoe teased. "Don't be so humble. That branch's opening was a success because you're smart and hard-working. I'm so proud of you." Alyssa smiled, clearly touched, until their mother Anne spoke again. "Must be nice to have such a promising youngest daughter. At her age, she's already proving she can accomplish something in life. Meanwhile, you're the eldest, Zoe, and yet you haven't achieved anything worthwhile. You're wasting your time with that painting nonsense that leads nowhere." "Anne, stop it, we're eating," Peter gently chided her, squeezing her hand under the table. "What? Did I say something wrong?" Anne replied sharply. "I'm just stating the truth. The difference between the two is obvious. Alyssa, straight A's, always top of her class, graduated magna cum laude in business administration, and now she's growing our family business. But Zoe barely made it through college with that useless fine arts degree. Her grades were terrible. Be honest, am I wrong?" Alyssa turned to look at her sister and saw the sadness in Zoe's eyes. She gently reached out and held Zoe's hand. Zoe tried to give a reassuring smile, pretending it didn't hurt, but Alyssa could feel the heaviness in her sister's heart. "Mom, please don't talk to her like that. Let's support her instead. I believe that one day she'll have her own art museum, one that will be known around the world." "I hope so," Anne muttered with sarcasm, "so she can be useful for once." Zoe calmly set down her utensils. "I'm done. I'll go rest now. Good night, Mom, Dad." She stood and left. Alyssa's eyes followed her sister with concern. Alyssa Simmons, 25 years old, was the CEO of the Simmons, their family's Korean BBQ business that had been running for 3 years. She was close to her older sister, even though they were raised in a home where they were constantly compared. Alyssa was naturally brilliant, while Zoe struggled academically, but had always been incredibly gifted in the arts. Alyssa had long black hair and a slim build. After finishing her evening routine, she knocked on Zoe's bedroom door. Her sister welcomed her in. "Hey," Alyssa said softly. "Please don't mind what Mom said. I'll talk to her." Zoe just shook her head. "Don't worry, Allie. I'm used to it. She's been that way since we were kids. I'm just happy for you." Zoe sat on the bed and leaned against the headboard, gently pulling Alyssa down so she could rest her head on Zoe's lap. Zoe ran her fingers through her sister's hair. "Don't think too much about it, okay? So, how are things with Jacob, That bouquet of red roses wasn't from your staff, was it? It was from him, right?" She was referring to Jacob, Alyssa's secret boyfriend, something only Zoe knew about. "Yeah," Alyssa admitted. "We met in the parking lot earlier. Thank God no one saw us. He's so sweet, Zoe. I really hope he's the one I'll marry someday. I want him to be the father of my kids." Zoe smiled but sighed. "You know that's a long shot, right? But I get it. You're just dreaming. You're free to do that." "Don't take that dream from me, Zoe." "Then why don't you introduce him to Mom and Dad? You're their favorite. Maybe they'll understand." "Have you forgotten what they said before?" Alyssa asked. They've been grooming me to take over the business. That's why they paid for business school. They expect me to run the company forever. They don't want me to get married. They're afraid I'll leave them if I do." "So you just go along with it?" Zoe whispered. "I do what they want, even if I'm tired too." Zoe let out a deep sigh. "I'm sorry, Alyssa. I'm the eldest, and yet I can't do anything to make you happy. I wish I had your smarts, so I could take on all the responsibility instead." Alyssa sat up and turned to face her sister. "The most important thing is that you're here. You're my teammate, and that's enough." "Oh, come here." Zoe pulled her into a warm hug. For Alyssa, Zoe was more than a sister. She was her best friend, and that was what gave her the strength to go on. The next morning, Alyssa went to the office early to catch up on pending tasks. "Come in," she said, upon hearing a knock at her door. The door opened and one of the staff entered. "Mom, your mom is here. She said she wants to speak with you." "Let her in, Regina. Thanks." Regina exited, and moments later, the door opened again, but instead of her mother, a tall man walked in. "You're working too hard, babe. Take a break." Alyssa's eyes widened as she looked up to see Jacob Estrada, 26, his tan skin complementing his freshly styled, textured crop haircut. "Babe, what are you doing here?" She quickly stood up and locked the door behind him. Jacob wrapped his arms around her waist and gave her a quick kiss on the lips. "Relax, babe. I told them I'm a food critic." "Even so, what if my parents see you here? They'll be furious and might split us up." "Shh, I won't stay long. I just wanted to see you. I missed you so much, babe." He buried his face in her neck, inhaling her scent. "Okay, just a few minutes. I still have a lot to do." They sat down on the couch in her office. "I can't wait to marry you, babe. I hope one day we can go out in public without hiding. I want to shout to the world how lucky I am that you're mine." "Me too, but you know our situation." I know. I'm just saying." He kissed the back of her hand, trailing kisses up her arm until he reached her shoulder and neck. Alyssa closed her eyes, savoring the tenderness in his touch. His kisses told her just how much he loved her. When his lips reached hers, they began kissing passionately. She wrapped her arms around his neck as he slowly unbuttoned her blouse. Before long, they were alone, the soundproofed office giving them privacy. "I love you so much, Thea. I will never love another woman but you," Jacob whispered after they were done, kissing her forehead. Later that afternoon, Alyssa returned to the mansion with a huge smile still lingering on her face, replaying their time together in her head. But as soon as she entered through the front door, her smile faded when she saw Zoe crying in the living room, standing before their parents who sat on the couch. "What's going on, Zoe? Why are you crying?" Alyssa asked, walking over and holding her sister's shoulders. "Allie, go upstairs. We're discussing something with your sister," Anne said. "No, Mum, I'm not leaving until you tell me why she's crying. I have the right to know. She's my sister." "Just listen to Mom, Allie," Zoe begged between sobs. "What's going on, Dad? Did you hurt her?" Her voice cracked, anger simmering beneath the surface. She hated seeing her sister cry. "Your sister is getting married, Althea. We arranged a marriage for her with the son of our business partners. It will help grow our business and attract more investors," Peter explained. "What? Did you even ask her how she feels about it?" "We make the decisions for you both, Alyssa. We know what's best for both of you. This is for Zoe's future too," Anne replied. Alyssa couldn't believe what she was hearing. She held Zoe close as her sister continued to cry into her chest. "Who is she marrying?" she asked. "Allie, please just go to your room," Zoe pleaded. "Who?" "To the Estrada's son, Jacob," Peter said. It felt as though the world stopped spinning. Alyssa couldn't breathe. She wanted to believe it was just a mistake that they had said the wrong name. The man she loved deeply was set to marry someone else, her own sister. That night, Alyssa cried herself to sleep. Her chest felt tight, like it might collapse from the pain. The next day, Jacob called unexpectedly and invited her to dinner. Alyssa hoped he would tell her the truth about the arrangement. But when they arrived at the restaurant, Jacob remained quiet. "What's going on? Why the sudden dinner invitation?" Alyssa asked, eyes fixed on him. "Nothing, babe. Do we need a reason to have a date? It's been a while since our last dinner. And why so serious all of a sudden? Don't you like it here? Want to go somewhere else?" "You're marrying my sister," Alyssa interrupted. Jacob looked down. He had expected this moment, but he wasn't ready for it. "I can stop it, babe. I'll do everything for us. I'll tell my parents we're together. I'll face your parents and fight for you." Alyssa shook her head as tears welled up in her eyes. "You can't. We can't stop this, Jacob." He reached across the table to hold her hand. "Babe, trust me. I have plans. We can't stop this, Jacob." "Are you breaking up with me?" Alyssa looked into his pleading eyes. "That's the best thing we can do now. Let's accept that we're not meant to end up together. I wasn't born to marry you. I was born just to love you. I don't want to disappoint my parents. They're counting on me." "But what about us? Babe, come on. We've been together for 3 years. You're giving up now?" Alyssa pulled her hand away and stood. "Let's just accept our fate, Jake. Thank you for loving me for 3 years." As she turned to leave, Jacob grabbed her hand, stopping her. "Wait. Just for tonight. Let me be with you. I respect your decision, but please just tonight." She agreed. They had dinner, and afterward, they went to Jacob's condo and spent their last night together. It was the happiest night of her life, and the most painful, because it would be their last. They never saw each other again after that night. The wedding preparations, long planned between their families, were rushed and completed in just 2 weeks. At last, the day of Zoe's wedding arrived. Inside the bridal suite where Zoe was getting her makeup done, Alyssa entered and quietly watched her sister, who was seated in front of the mirror. "You look beautiful, Zoe. That dress suits you perfectly," Alyssa said with a gentle smile. "I'm sorry, Thea." "You've said sorry more than 100 times already. How many times do I need to tell you I've accepted it? I'm okay. I'm not angry at you. I'm angry at Mom. But no matter what, my love for you won't change." Zoe stood and faced her sister. "Are you sure about this? We still have time, Thea. We can stop this wedding." Alyssa shook her head. "I know this is for the best. Just promise me you'll take care of Jacob for me." Zoe held her sister's hand. "I promise. And don't worry, I don't have feelings for him. I respect what you two had. I'm only doing this to keep Mom and Dad at peace." Zoe hugged Alyssa, who returned the embrace tightly. But as they let go, Alyssa suddenly felt nauseous. Zoe quickly caught her by the shoulders. "Thea, are you okay?" "Yeah, I just don't feel well. I'm going back to the condo. I won't attend the wedding. Please make an excuse for me to Mom and Dad, okay? I really can't watch the ceremony." "I understand. I'll take care of it. Go rest." After saying their goodbyes, Alyssa returned to her condo. There, she vomited again and again, dizzy and unable to stand properly. She lay down on her bed, trying to piece together what was happening. "Did I eat something spoiled?" she murmured to herself. As she stared at the ceiling, a thought struck her, one she didn't want to believe but had to confirm. Despite feeling awful, she called a cab and went to the nearest pharmacy to buy a pregnancy test. Back at the condo, she sat on the bathroom floor, whispering to herself as she covered the test result with her hand. "Please be negative. Please be negative." When she finally uncovered it, her knees buckled. Positive. She was pregnant. "This can't be happening." She sank to the tile floor, Overwhelmed, reaching for her phone, she nearly called Zoe, but stopped herself. She didn't want anyone to know, not even Jacob. After the wedding, days passed. Alyssa visited the mansion and found Zoe and Jacob in the living room, organizing things. Their driver was loading bags into a van. "Oh, your sister's here just in time to say goodbye," Anne said, noticing Alyssa. Zoe and Jacob turned toward her. Alyssa forced a smile. When her eyes met Jacob's, she kept her expression cold. "Congratulations. Sorry I missed your wedding." "We're moving out," Zoe said. "We'll be living together now." Alyssa nodded. "Take care, Zoe." She hugged her sister, but when Jacob leaned forward to hug her too, Alyssa quickly stepped away and walked over to her parents. After saying their goodbyes, Zoe and Jacob got into the van. From the window, Alyssa stared at Jacob, who looked back at her with unreadable eyes. In her mind, she was saying goodbye, and silently apologizing for hiding the child growing inside her. "Come inside, sweetheart. Have you eaten? I had breakfast made," Anne said. "No, thank you, Mom. Actually, I wanted to tell you something." Peter and Anne exchanged glances. "I've decided I'm going to the US. I'll be staying there for a year. I'm going to miss Zoe a lot, and being here just reminds me of her. I also want to take a break. I'll leave the Simmons in the hands of our managers." "Oh, of course, Alyssa," Peter said. "As long as you stay in touch, we support you." "Thank you, Mom." Just as she planned, Alyssa flew to America immediately, entrusting the Simmons to her parents and the branch managers. In the US, she bought a small apartment for herself and her unborn child. She hired a helper to assist her through the pregnancy and upcoming delivery. In time, she gave birth to a baby boy. "What name should we write on the birth certificate, ma'am?" asked Lily, her helper, who was by her side in the hospital room. Landon Simmons," Alyssa said with a smile, glancing at her sleeping newborn beside her. She stayed in the US for 3 more months after giving birth, before deciding it was time to return. "It's been a year, Al. Jacob has probably forgotten about you by now. No one knows you gave birth, and that's how it needs to stay. You're going home to work. No one must find out that Jacob is Landon's father, not even your parents. You can be a good mother to Landon and a good daughter at the same time," she told herself as the plane began its descent. Upon landing, Alyssa got off the plane with Lily and Landon in her arms. Rather than return to her old condo, which her parents might visit, she bought a new one in a different location. Once settled in, Lily unpacked their things while Alyssa put Landon to sleep. "Welcome to America, Landon," she whispered, kissing his forehead. She took her phone and dialed a number she hadn't called or messaged in a long time. After 3 rings, someone answered. "Hello? I thought you changed your number," came the slightly sulking voice of her sister. Alyssa smiled faintly upon hearing Zoe's voice. "Hey, Zoe, I'm back. Can we meet?" "Of course. Just message me where and when. See you soon, Thea. I've missed you." Alyssa hung up and searched for a spot to meet. She chose a nearby tea shop. "You're even paler, Thea. The American air really did wonders for you. So unfair you didn't even tell me you were leaving the country. If I hadn't asked Mom and Dad, I would have thought you went missing," Zoe teased as she stirred the tea in front of her. "How are things over there? Were you stressed? You look like you gained weight. And why do you look so exhausted?" Alyssa laughed lightly. "Of course I gained weight. Restaurants were everywhere and I learned to bartend, so I barely got any sleep. I haven't rested since the flight. That's why I look like this." She glanced at Zoe. "You've slimmed down and you're glowing. How's married life?" "Is it okay if I talk about it with you?" Zoe asked cautiously. "Of course. Why wouldn't it be?" Alyssa answered. "You know, my husband is your ex-boyfriend." Alyssa let out a soft chuckle. "Zoe, it's been a year. I'm not affected anymore. We're past that." Okay, so during our 1 year of marriage, I've come to understand what you saw in him. I didn't expect him to be so gentlemanly, thoughtful, and sweet. He brings me flowers on special occasions, takes me out on dates sometimes. I can say this year has been one of the best in my life. Thea, Jacob's such a great husband. Alyssa offered a tight smile before sipping her tea. Deep inside, she couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. That should have been her. She should have been the one experiencing Jacob's love. You're right, Zoe. He's a good guy. I'm happy for both of you. Do you guys have kids yet? We haven't really talked about that. He's busy with work, and I'm focused on planning my future museum. Wow, Zoe, seriously? You're going to have your own museum? Alyssa's eyes lit up. Her sister's dream since childhood was finally coming true. I'm still in the planning phase. Right now, I'm focusing on curating paintings to display and sell. I haven't thought of a name yet. But now that you're back, maybe you can help me. After finishing their tea, the sisters decided to go shopping. At the mall, they chatted non-stop and laughed often. Alyssa had missed bonding with her sister and was genuinely happy to be with her again. When their shopping spree ended, they parted ways. Outside the mall, Alyssa was tapping on her phone to book a ride when a black car pulled up in front of her. Is that you? She looked up and her lips parted in shock when she saw who was in the driver's seat. Jacob. Her heart pounded wildly. When their eyes met, a familiar feeling washed over her, one she thought had long disappeared. Jacob. Even saying his name felt difficult. Jacob stepped out of the car. As he came closer, Alyssa caught a whiff of his familiar cologne. I missed you. It's been a while. When did you get back from the US? Just recently. Where are you living? Did you change your number? I'm staying at my condo, and no, I didn't change my number. They stood in silence for a moment before Jacob asked, So, have you changed? What do you mean? Do you have a boyfriend? No. You probably know why I'm asking. My feelings haven't changed. The months, the years, they changed, but not my heart. I'm still in love with you. I thought shifting my focus to Zoe would help, but it didn't. She's a nice person, but no matter what I do, I can only see her as a friend, because I'm still in love with you. Alyssa looked away. She hadn't expected to hear this from him after a year apart. Jacob was about to say more when they both turned toward the mall entrance. Jacob, help me out here, Zoe called, carrying several shopping bags. Jacob immediately rushed to help her. As they reached the car, Zoe noticed Alyssa. Oh, so you two ran into each other? You heading home too, Thea? Yeah, I'm about to book a ride. No need. Since we're all going the same way, ride with us? No, that's okay. I'd feel bad. I'm your sister, Althea. Just get in. Zoe opened the backseat door, leaving Alyssa with no choice but to comply. Jacob opened the front passenger door for Zoe, then walked around to the driver's side and got in after putting the shopping bags in the back. Before starting the engine, he glanced at the rearview mirror only for Alyssa to quickly avert her gaze. Jake, how's work? Zoe asked. It's fine, a bit exhausting but manageable. How was your shopping trip? Oh, I forgot to tell you I ran into my sister earlier. She just landed. What about we invite her for dinner at our place? Zoe suggested. Alyssa, are you free tonight? You should come by the house. No, Zoe, I'm still jet-lagged from the flight. I just want to rest at the condo. Even sitting next to Jacob and Zoe in the same car was uncomfortable. Sharing dinner with them in their house would be torture. That's too bad. Maybe next time? Sure. Alyssa smiled faintly and turned to look out the window. Oh, by the way, Jake, our first wedding anniversary is coming up. Got any plans? Alyssa glanced briefly at them before looking away again. Zoe, maybe we shouldn't talk about that right now. Let's wait till we get home. Why not? I'm sure my sister won't mind, right? Zoe turned to look at Alyssa in the back seat. Alyssa offered a forced smile, but deep inside, her heart sank. It felt like Zoe was deliberately bringing it up in front of her. But did Alyssa have the right to be upset? They were married after all. She was no longer a part of Jacob's life. I'm tired, Zoe, Jacob said. You're always tired when it comes to me, Zoe replied, clearly frustrated. Alyssa stayed quiet, listening from the back. Don't talk like that, Zoe. Are we really going to argue about this again? At least wait till we're home, your sister's here. Why, Jacob? Is it because she's your first love, and I'm just the one you married because of an arrangement? I said we'll talk about this later. You always avoid the topic whenever it's about her. To cut the tension, Alyssa spoke up. This is my stop. Jacob pulled over in front of her residential building. None of them had realized they'd already arrived. As she got out of the car, she said goodbye to Zoe. Once the car drove off, Alyssa exhaled deeply, relieved that she hadn't been dragged further into their argument. The next day, Alyssa visited her parents' mansion. The day after that, she was back at work. While she was in her office, she heard a knock. When she opened the door, she found Jacob standing there. Busy? He asked. Jacob, what are you doing here? I was nearby and decided to stop in. We didn't really get to talk the other day. Alyssa stood and gestured toward the couch. Have a seat. Does Zoe know you're here? She asked. Nope, she shouldn't. Alyssa's brows furrowed. You're hiding this from her? Do you know how she'd feel if she knew you came to see me? You're married, Jacob. You should be honest with her. We're only married on paper, Thea. I'm not emotionally committed to her. You know that. Alyssa stood and turned her back on him. Why can't we just move on from the past, Jacob? If we keep living in it, we'll only hurt more people. Have you thought about that? Even if it means we're happy, is it worth the cost? Before she could say anything else, Jacob was suddenly behind her, placing his hands gently on her shoulders. We can't be happy together, Jake. Not now. Not ever. But I'm happy when I'm with you, and I know you feel the same. One of Jacob's hands lifted her chin, turning her face toward his, and he kissed her. Alyssa closed her eyes, surrendering to the warmth of his lips. Her mind told her to push him away, but her hands betrayed her, cupping his face instead. This is wrong, Jacob, she whispered when their lips parted. Nothing is wrong when it comes to real love, Althea. Jacob turned her body to face him fully and kissed her again, this time deeper, more urgent. He pressed her against the wall, arms wrapping around her waist. Their breathing grew heavier, neither of them willing to stop. His hand slid under her pencil skirt. Alyssa gasped at his touch. Each kiss from Jacob sent waves through her body, clouding her thoughts. She clutched the back of his neck, deepening their kiss even more. They jumped apart only when Jacob's phone rang. He turned away to answer it. When he turned back, he looked at her regretfully. I have to go. Something urgent came up. It's okay. Take care. Alyssa avoided his eyes, ashamed of what had just happened. Just moments ago, she couldn't resist his kisses, and now she couldn't even look at him. Jacob pulled out a small card from his wallet and handed it to her. This is my number. If you need anything, if you want to see me, call me. I'm heading out now. He gave her a quick kiss on the cheek before leaving. Alyssa collapsed onto the sofa, holding her head in her hands. What have I done? She whispered to herself. Why is it so hard to forget how I feel about him? Why does one kiss from him break all my resolve? This is wrong, so wrong. He's married to my sister. She wiped her face with her palms, her thoughts a storm of guilt and confusion. That entire day, Alyssa was lost in her own world. She couldn't focus on anything and decided to go home early. After taking a shower and changing clothes, she headed to the condo where Lily and Landon were staying. As she approached the door, about to knock, she was startled to find Jacob already there, about to knock himself. He was still dressed in his office suit, but looked freshly cleaned up. "Jacob, you look like you've seen a ghost." "I just didn't expect to see you. It's late." "I brought your favorite graham cake," he said, lifting a food container. Only then did Alyssa notice what he was holding. Her eyes lit up. "That looks amazing. Come in." Once inside, she sent a quick message to Lily, telling her she'd be home later than expected. "Nice place," Jacob said, setting the container on the coffee table and sitting on the couch. "I stopped by the Simmons earlier, but they said you left early." "Why'd you stop by?" "I saw someone selling graham cake outside my building, and it reminded me of you. I thought it'd be perfect for movie night." They both laughed softly. "Yeah, I remember those days." As Jacob turned on the smart TV, Alyssa walked to the kitchen and prepared 2 plates of the dessert. When she returned, Jacob was scrolling through movies to watch. She smiled to herself. It felt like old times, her preparing food while Jacob chose a movie. They watched an action film while eating on the couch. "I used to think we'd never share a moment like this again," Jacob said midway through the film. "Sitting on a couch, eating graham cake, watching movies together without caring how late it gets." "Nothing lasts forever, Jacob. Some things have to change for everyone's sake. But some things don't. No matter how hard you try to change them, they remain." Alyssa nodded. No matter how hard she tried to change their situation, the truth remained. She and Jacob had a child. She could force herself not to love him, but deep down she knew it was a lie. Her heart still belonged to him, just like his belonged to her. On the screen, the female lead was accepting her fate, that she was going to die, because there was no escape from her pursuer. "There are moments when we just have to accept what fate brings," Alyssa said. "No," Jacob replied. "We shouldn't surrender to fate. We make our own destinies, Althea." "That's true," she whispered. Jacob looked at her, determination in his eyes. "We can still fix this. Just say the word, and I'll do whatever it takes." Alyssa turned toward him, her heart pounding. She wanted to say yes, but something held her back. Her happiness was right in front of her, but choosing it meant hurting others. Was it selfish to want him back? Jacob cupped her face. "Althea, even if you don't say it, I know what's in your heart. Let's do things right this time." Their faces were inches apart. Just as their lips were about to meet, Alyssa's phone rang. She quickly answered when she saw Lily's name. "Hello?" "Ma'am, where are you? Landon won't stop crying. I don't know what to do. He's been at it for a while." Alyssa could hear her baby crying from the other end of the line. "I'll be right there. I'm on my way." When she turned to Jacob, she saw the shift in his expression. "Landon," he said quietly. The color drained from Alyssa's face. She had forgotten Jacob was beside her, forgotten he could hear the call. She wasn't ready for him to know the truth. "I'm sorry, Jacob." "You said you didn't have a boyfriend." Jacob laughed bitterly and stood up. "What do you mean?" "You never told me you had a Landon. Is that why you've been pushing me away? Because you've moved on? I thought we were on the same page, but clearly I was wrong." "Jacob, wait." But he was already heading for the door. He didn't look back as he left. Alyssa sank into the couch again and let out a long breath. "Let him think Landon is my boyfriend," she whispered to herself. "He can't know, not yet." The next day, Anne called Alyssa and invited her to dinner at the mansion. Seeing no reason to decline, Alyssa accepted. It had been a while since they'd last eaten together as a family. But when she arrived, she didn't expect to see Zoe and Jacob already there. Sitting at the same dinner table with them, and her parents, made every bite of steak harder to swallow. "I'm so happy the three of you could make it," Anne said cheerfully. "Ever since Zoe got married and you left for America, Alyssa, this house has felt so empty." "Time really flies. You're both grown up now," Peter added. "Why don't you just live here again, Alyssa? There's no need to stay in a condo. This mansion will be yours one day anyway." "I can't," Alyssa replied. "My office is closer to the condo, but I'll visit more often if that's okay." "That's great, sweetheart," Peter said. "We can always count on you. We're so lucky you never abandoned us." Zoe let out a small scoff, catching everyone's attention. "If I didn't speak up, I'd probably be treated like air again," she said bitterly. "Leave her be," Anne said. "She's 26 now, she should be getting married." Peter raised a brow. "She can't get married. Who would manage the business?" "Why not?" "If she gets married, does that mean she won't be able to work anymore? In fact, she'd focus better on growing the company if she didn't have a husband or children. Besides, Althea has never shown interest in starting her own family. It's enough that she has us. Right, Alyssa?" Alyssa looked at Zoe, who gave her a pleading look, then turned to their parents and gave a polite smile. "Yes." "See?" Anne said. "Your sister can stand on her own. She doesn't need a man." Zoe fell silent and focused on her food. "Let's talk about you and Jacob," Peter said, changing the subject. "How are things going? When will you give us a grandchild?" Zoe lit up. For once, their parents were showing interest in her. "We're doing great, Mom. Dad, we haven't discussed having kids yet. He's been busy with work and I've been planning my museum." "And you, Jacob?" "You've been so quiet. What's on your mind?" "He's just tired," Zoe answered for him. "You know how busy he is." "Well, as long as you two are doing well," Peter said. "I'm glad everything is working out between you. We always knew this arrangement would be good for both our daughters." "Yes, Mom, but to be honest, it's kind of stressful having a husband like Jacob. He's got so many admirers." Alyssa wasn't sure if she imagined it, but it felt like Zoe glanced her way as she said that. "I get nervous sometimes. What if our sweet little sister falls for Jacob too?" The room fell silent. Jacob's face darkened as he squeezed Zoe's hand tightly under the table. "Zoe, that's enough." "What? Come on, Jake, I was just joking," she said with a loud laugh. Peter and Anne chuckled. Alyssa forced a smile and grabbed her water glass, draining it quickly. After dinner, the family gathered in the living room to chat. Alyssa, however, excused herself and stepped out into the yard to get some air. "Althea, why are you outside? It's humid. You might catch a cold," Zoe called out as she approached. "I'll go in soon. Just getting some air. I might head home in a bit." "In that case, ride with Jacob and me. No need to book a car." They stood quietly for a moment, both enjoying the night air and the quiet that wrapped around them. It brought back memories of their childhood, back when things were simple, before life pulled them in different directions. "Althea, if you don't mind me asking, can I be honest with you about something?" "Sure, what is it?" "Do you still have feelings for Jacob?" Alyssa didn't respond right away. Then finally, number. Not anymore. It was a lie, but it was the safest thing to say. "That's good to know. He's not exactly hard to love, you know. I've grown to love him during the short time we've been together. I hope you're okay with that." "Of course. He's your husband now. The past is the past." "Thanks, Thea. We're still best friends, right?" "Of course. You'll always be my best friend and big sister." A wave of guilt hit Alyssa. She thought about the night she and Jacob spent together, the night he visited her condo. Zoe didn't know any of it. She also didn't know that Alyssa had Jacob's child. "I'm your sister, no matter what. If you have problems or something on your mind, I should be the first to know." "Okay, yes, that's for sure." But it was a lie. Alyssa was hiding too much from her. She wanted to tell Zoe the truth, but she knew it would hurt her. Now that Zoe truly loved Jacob, Alyssa didn't want to be the reason her sister lost her happiness, especially when Zoe had spent her whole life feeling left out and unloved. Soon after, they decided it was time to head home. "Are you sure you don't want me to come with you?" Zoe asked as the car pulled up to her and Jacob's home. "Yup, you go rest. I'll drop off my sister." Zoe turned around to glance at Alyssa in the back seat, who was busy on her phone. "Text me when you get home, okay?" "Yes, Zoe, good night." They kissed each other on the cheek before Zoe stepped out. That left Jacob and Alyssa alone in the car. Silence fell instantly. When they arrived at Alyssa's condo parking lot, she didn't get out right away. "Thanks for the ride." "Can we talk before you go?" Jacob asked. "About what?" Jacob sighed, got out of the driver's seat, and to her surprise, slid into the back seat beside her. "How long have you and Lander been together?" "A year." "You met him in the US?" "Yes, we were neighbors." "Do you love him?" "Of course." Jacob's brows furrowed. "Break up with him." "What, are you insane? And you think I'll just do it because you told me to? You're absurd." "You're lying. You don't love him. I can see it in your eyes. You're hiding something from me." Alyssa looked away, but Jacob gently lifted her chin to face him. "What's stopping you from choosing yourself for once? From choosing me?" "Jacob, you're married to my sister, and she loves you. I won't be the one to ruin that." "But I don't love her. You keep thinking about her. But what about me, Althea? Do you ever think about how much I hurt? About how I felt when you wouldn't fight for us back then?" That broke me. Tears finally spilled from Alyssa's eyes, the ones she had held back for so long. She pressed her forehead against Jacob's chest and wept. "I'm sorry for being a coward. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to disappoint my parents. I was scared to take a risk, and yes, I still love you. I never stopped." Jacob gently held her face and wiped her tears. "Can we try again?" Alyssa didn't answer. Instead, she leaned forward and kissed him. It was deep and desperate, a kiss that came from years of holding back. In that moment, there was nothing else, just the two of them. There in the car, they gave in completely. The vehicle filled with quiet gasps and movement. The night became their witness to the love they had fought so hard to deny. The next morning, Alyssa woke to the sound of her phone alarm on the nightstand. She shut it off, only for it to buzz again a moment later with a new message. It was from Jacob. "Good morning, heading to work now. Have a great day. I love you." A smile slowly formed on her lips. She texted back, "Good morning, just woke up. Take care at work." "I love you too." Feeling like she was floating on air, Alyssa got up, did her morning routine, and stopped by the condo where Landon was before heading to the office. Lily noticed something immediately. "Ma'am, you're missing one earring." Alyssa hadn't noticed, but brushed it off, thinking she probably lost it at home. She removed the other earring to match. As she entered the main office of the Simmons, Regina greeted her. "Good morning, Mom. You look absolutely glowing today." "Oh, Regina, you're such a flatterer. No, really, you're blooming just like the flowers that arrived earlier." "Flowers?" Alyssa frowned. "Yes, someone sent a bouquet of red roses. I put them in your office. The sender asked to stay anonymous. Looks like you've got a secret admirer," Regina said, giggling. When Alyssa entered her office, she saw the beautiful red roses and immediately dialed Jacob's number. "Hey, gorgeous, did you get the flowers?" "I did. But what's the occasion?" "Does there have to be one? I just wanted to brighten your day. I know red roses are your favorite." "Thank you. I'll display them here in the lounge area." "All right, I've got a meeting in 3 minutes. Talk later." Alyssa sniffed the bouquet and placed them in a vase on the glass table. The fragrance lifted her spirits. She got back to work feeling extra productive that day, attributing her good mood to the roses and Jacob's message. Later that afternoon, Zoe messaged her, inviting her over to chat. After finishing her work, Alyssa headed to Jacob and Zoe's house. Jacob hadn't arrived home yet. "How's work?" Zoe asked. "Busy. It's graduation season, so there are tons of customers." "You're out the whole day?" "Yeah. Most days I'm alone at home because Jacob's working. That's why I miss going shopping with you." "We'll go soon, I promise. Oh, by the way, I got you something." Zoe handed Alyssa a small box. "Wow, what's this? You didn't have to get me anything," Alyssa said, smiling as she accepted the gift. She was always excited to receive presents from Zoe, knowing her sister always chose thoughtful gifts. "Open it." Alyssa did, expecting a necklace, or maybe a ring, but her smile faded when she saw what was inside. A single earring, and it was hers. Zoe stood up and crossed her arms, pacing slowly. "Familiar? I thought you were looking for this earlier." Alyssa froze. Zoe continued. "When I saw you and Jacob talking at the mall, I already felt something was off, but I trusted you when you said there was nothing between you. Still, something told me to be cautious. One night, I followed Jacob. He went to your condo and stayed there a long time. I may be stupid, Alyssa, but I'm not blind." Alyssa tried to reach for her, but Zoe stepped back. "Don't touch me, Thea. When did you start lying to me? When did you decide to betray me?" "Zoe, why are you talking like I committed some grave sin against you? We both know your marriage is just on paper. Jacob doesn't love you and you know that." "I don't care about the past. What matters is now. Right now, he's my husband. Legally. You had no right to come between us. You're a traitor." Zoe slapped her. It was the first time she had ever hit her. Alyssa stood frozen. The pain of that slap hit deeper than her skin. "I did everything to make you feel included in this family. I gave up my happiness for you. I backed away when I found out you loved him. Do you know how hard it was? I've never been happy, Zoe. Not really. I was a coward then. But now I want to be brave, and if that makes me selfish, then fine, so be it. I don't believe a word you say anymore. Get out. Get out of my house." Alyssa didn't hesitate. She left, deeply hurt. Back in her condo, she cried for hours. Needing someone to talk to, she called Jacob. He came immediately. She told him everything, that Zoe knew the truth, that they fought, and that she was kicked out. Jacob wrapped his arms around her and tried to calm her down. "Stop crying. I'll fix this. I promise." "How?" "Let me handle it." Alyssa nodded and hugged him tightly. For the first time in a long while, she didn't feel like she had to carry everything alone. When she finally fell asleep, Jacob picked her up and laid her gently in bed. Just as he was about to leave, something on the nightstand caught his eye, a photo of Alyssa holding a baby, engraved with the name Baby Landon. His eyes widened. Alyssa saw him looking and quickly snatched the frame away. "Jacob, maybe you should leave." "Landon's your son?" he asked. She turned away. He stared at her in silence, then slowly said, "He's our son, isn't he?" Alyssa didn't answer. The truth was finally out. Jacob stood up, brushing a hand over his face. He was still trying to process everything. "We had a child, and you never told me?" Alyssa got up and hugged him from behind, still holding the photo frame. "I'm sorry. With everything going on, I didn't know how to tell you. Everything was already so messy." Jacob turned to face her. He had expected to see anger in his reflection in her eyes, but instead there was only guilt. "You should have told me. I have a right to know. He's my son too. I would have been there for you. I would have been there for him. You should have let me be part of it." "I know. I'm really sorry." Jacob pulled her into his arms and kissed her forehead. "I want to meet him." Just as he wished, Alyssa brought him to the condo where Landon and Lily stayed. When Jacob held his son for the first time, Alyssa saw his joy, and it was then that she asked herself why she hadn't done this sooner. Jacob started visiting often. Every time he came, he brought something for Landon. Alyssa was happy seeing Jacob be a good father to their son, and it gave her even more reason to start putting the pieces of their lives back together. 2 weeks passed. One day, while Alyssa was working at the office, Zoe showed up calmer than she'd ever seen her. But her tired eyes and sleepless expression said everything. "I filed for annulment," Zoe said as she placed a brown envelope on the desk. "You came all the way here to tell me that?" Alyssa asked. "I also came to say sorry for what I said and did. We're sisters. We shouldn't hurt each other like that." "I'm sorry too. I hurt you just as much. We both made mistakes." "You're right," Zoe said, then took a breath. "Actually, I didn't just come here for that. I also want to ask, can I visit my nephew?" Alyssa furrowed her brow. "How did you know?" "Jacob told me, but don't get mad at him. He didn't mean to. We had a fight and it just slipped. Honestly, that's what made me realize I've had enough. I don't want your child growing up in a broken situation. That's why I filed for annulment. I've accepted that Jacob will never love me the way he loves you." Alyssa simply nodded. "When do you plan on telling Mum and Dad?" "I don't know yet, but please don't tell them. I want to be the one to explain it when I'm ready." "Of course, whenever you're ready." Zoe reached across the desk and held Alyssa's hand. They exchanged a quiet smile. Days later, in Alyssa's condo, she, Jacob, and Landon sat in the living room, watching the baby giggle and laugh. "He's so handsome, definitely looks like me," Jacob bragged. "Excuse me?" Alyssa replied. "Those eyes are clearly mine." "No, babe, just accept it. He's my carbon copy." Their playful banter was interrupted by a knock at the door. Alyssa opened it and found Zoe standing outside. "Zoe, I thought you said you'd come by later." "Yeah, but Mom and Dad—" Zoe stepped aside, revealing their parents behind her. "Mom? Dad, what are you doing here?" Inside, Alyssa quickly prepared drinks for them and sat with Jacob in the living room while her parents held Landon in their arms. "How do you explain this, Alyssa?" Anne asked directly. Alyssa glanced at Jacob, then took a deep breath. "I didn't go to America just to rest. I left to hide my pregnancy." "Why would you hide it from us?" Peter asked. "If we hadn't visited Zoe and overheard her on the phone talking about her nephew, we would have never known," Anne added. "I was scared you'd be disappointed in me," Alyssa admitted. Jacob spoke up. "That's true. You raised her with so much pressure, but you never asked her what she wanted because you'd already decided everything for her. She wanted a family, a child, marriage, and she deserves to have that. Her world doesn't revolve around just you." "I didn't know," Anne said, quietly. "I didn't realize we'd pushed her that far." Zoe spoke next. "And me? Did you ever consider what I wanted? I've always been compared to Althea. I've carried that weight my whole life. Honestly, it's exhausting to be your daughter." Anne covered her mouth in shock and looked at Peter, who appeared just as shaken. They had been so blind to their own behavior for so long, and now the truth was hitting them like cold water. Anne began sobbing on Peter's shoulder. "We're sorry. We failed you both." Alyssa and Zoe exchanged looks, then walked over and hugged their parents. "Let's forget all that," Alyssa said. "What matters now is that we fix everything. It's not too late." "But how?" Peter asked. "We've already made such a mess." "Marry Alyssa and Jacob," Zoe said. "Make them a real family for Landon." Peter smiled. That was the one thing they could do now to make things right. "You're right, Zoe," Anne agreed. And we'll help you build your museum, sweetheart. Zoe's eyes lit up. Really? Thank you, Mom, Dad. She hugged them tightly. So did Alyssa. Later, the family gathered around baby Landon, laughing and smiling. Peter and Anne were overjoyed to finally hold their grandchild. After the annulment was finalized, Jacob and Alyssa began planning their wedding with the full support of both families. Landon was also baptized under Jacob's last name. They exchanged vows and finally lived in peace and freedom, raising their son together. Zoe, on the other hand, poured her focus into building her art museum with the help of her parents in funding and planning. It's okay to be selfless, but sometimes it's not a crime to choose your own happiness. You can still bring joy to the people around you without sacrificing yourself. We all deserve to be loved and to love. We all deserve happiness, and we all deserve to make our own choices. Sometimes you just have to be selfish for your own good. The end. This is Mr. Hope. Thank you for watching. Kindly comment and subscribe.